pros and cons of self-storage versus multifamily. I have a few things in my head, but I'd love to hear it straight from you. I mean, what do you like more or less about those asset classes?
Well, coming from residential background for many years, I love multifamily and I love workforce housing. Home ownership in the country has been shifting for many years, and we're slowly shifting, I think, to a nation more of renters than we are of homeowners. Home values remain inflated. Obviously, we all know about interest rates. It's more unaffordable than it's ever been to buy a house. So a lot of people who were trying to buy back when interest rates were low and they couldn't because of multiple offers and competition, they're going to be renting sort of indefinitely now. So that workforce housing component, and not affordable housing, but attainable priced housing is going to be around and just fundamentally is sound, I think, indefinitely. So I love that strategy. As you kind of compare and contrast self-storage, one of the big downsides depending on the market you're operating in, and we were talking before we started recording, you're in a lot of business-friendly states and landlord-friendly states, and no doubt that's by intent and not by accident. But one of the problems with multifamily is remedying delinquencies with evictions. Some states are taking just, quarters, if not longer, if not over a year, to get a non-paying tenant out. And one of the things we like about self-storage, and I'm going to sound like a dirty capitalist here without a heart when I make this comment, but if you have a delinquent customer in a storage facility, you just turn off their gate access, you eventually overlock their unit, and you auction the contents, and you get the unit back in service fairly quickly to a customer that's hopefully paying.
No, and I don't think, I appreciate you saying that you're going to sound like that, but at the end of the day, like this is a service, right? You're providing a service that someone should pay you for. And so, I get the expression like dirty capitalist, right? Like you're the mean landlord. But I got to say, I would argue the other way. Like if that person's not paying, it's like anything. It's like you can't walk into Starbucks and grab a coffee and walk out. It's a very similar concept. I think it's a bad reputation, and I don't want to I didn't mean to interrupt you here, but that's one thing is like, again, it's different if you're kicking someone out of the street. Like if you're taking someone's housing away, that can be pretty cold. So we try really hard to help people as much as we can. If you're just kind of locking off someone's possessions because they're not paying, that's a totally different thing. And that's one thing I think from my perspective is a huge pro. And then we'll get into this maybe a little bit more. Again, I feel like I cut you off, but the laws around evictions are totally different as well. So I'll let you continue.
Yeah, and what I'm not trying to get political here by any means, but one thing people often don't think about. I was on an in-person panel at a local kind of investor club here in Denver, and somebody in the audience was, kind of taking offense to some of our rate increases that we implement on our existing customers. And what people often don't think about is, yeah, rents have gone up, but on the ownership side, we are all, you guys probably included, getting crushed with operating expenses, right? Our property taxes,
insurance
premiums. Insurance premiums used to be, a couple of years ago, not an afterthought, but we plug a number into our model and call up our carrier and kind of confirm it's accurate. And now insurance premiums are a major risk. And there's some submarkets where if you come up for renewal, you can't even get coverage. So yeah, we're all raising rents and we're trying to grow revenue and grow cash flow, but at the same time, our operating expenses are going up too. When someone doesn't pay, you're not the big bad landlord. You've got a bank on your back, and you've got property taxes due and employees to pay. Going back to storage though, it's the eviction process is fairly simplistic. But we work with our customers just like you guys do as much as possible. We'll do payment plans. We'll figure out a way to kind of keep them on track. Another big difference between multifamily and storage, as I'm sure you know, is leases and self-storage are month to month. So our customers like that because they have the flexibility to come and go as they please. But on the ownership side, the month-to-month lease is interesting because we can very dynamically manage our revenue. So if we have a unit type that's lower on occupancy and we're not getting the occupancy growth velocity that we want, we can drop our rents below market and grow that occupancy over time and start increasing rates. And likewise, if we have a unit type that's really full, that's maybe below market, and we can increase rates on our customers there and grow revenue that way and probably not suffer from any occupancy loss. So there's a lot of real-time levers you can pull in the business. And And to a degree, you can experiment. And if your experiment doesn't work, you can quickly course correct by virtue of the fact that you can manage your revenue real time. So multifamily leases are obviously, 1 year, 2 year, whatever the case might be. So they're still fairly short, and you can do the same thing in apartments. But in self-storage being month to month, there's a lot of dynamic management you can do to add value.